This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Jason Glick, what's going on, man?
Hey, John. It's like I'm talking about a series that has been running for a while. That has a creator who's been a big part of this site that I love to write about. And it was his first major horror series after his big horror series that changed everything.
And who is this mystery person?
This
I already know who it is.
Yeah.
I already know who it is.
Yeah, this mystery person is Robert Kirkman. It's like the creator who gave us The Walking Dead, who gave us Invincible. It's like, and who is constantly trying to come up with another series that can beat or equal those genre defining series. It's like on his own terms, because it's like you kind of figure after you've created a series that that actually managed to go up in sales each issue, like The Walking Dead did, and spawned a huge TV franchise, as it did. It's like, and also with Invincible, that is now gone to be a smash hit series on Amazon that is just getting started, and also get a lot of people to invest in hey, what is this new this new old series in the creator of The Walking Dead? I want to find out about it. It's like I kind of appreciate that about Kirkman, that the fact that he's he's had huge success in comics and also in TV. It's like, but he's also determined, hey, you know what? I still want to keep doing comics. I want to create new series that are as big, if not bigger, than the series that I've made my name with. So I definitely respect that. And that's why I'm always gonna give Kirkman the time to to as far as what he's doing for new series, because the Walking with series like The Walking Dead and Invincible. I mean, it's his legacy is secure, right there. He doesn't need to do anything else. But I love him for the fact that he keeps wanting to try, and I'm always going to give him the time of day to do that. And that brings us to one of the first major series that he did to capitalize on his post Walking Dead TV success. That would be Outcast, because it's interesting because, as he tells us in the final volume, it's after The Walking Dead hit big, his creative people, his agents in Hollywood tell him, hey, you can probably get some people to greenlight a new series after this, just based on the fact that you're the guy who did The Walking Dead. So Kirkman was thinking okay, well, what do I want to do here? It's hey, it's exorcism. That's always been something I've been fascinated with. So I want to see what I can do there. And it was interesting to read that that Outcast was kind of a series that the comic series was kind of reverse adapted, from Kirkman's pitch for the series to Cinemax. And that's fine and all. Because Kirkman has the skills to to pitch a series and make and make it work on its own terms. I never watched Outcast because this is back in the day when they still bundled cable subscriptions together. It's I didn't get Cinemax, so oops. But I did read the comics, as if you've been reading the site for a while, that I talk about just about every volume as it came out. And it's the fact that hey, it's the guy who created the horror series known as The Walking Dead, hey, he's doing another horror series called Outcast. Well, that's reason enough to check it out as it is. It's and he was also doing it with Paul Azaceta, a guy who does dark, moody, creepy art really well. It's and he does this and he does a good job of selling Outcast's creepy, moody vibe. It's really well over the course of its 48 issues. But what is Outcast about? Well, Outcast is the story of Kyle Barnes. when we meet him in the beginning of the series, he's he's a solitary like hermit type character, like who lives in Rome, West Virginia, and it's like like he's had a tough life so far. It's like we were initially told that that he's he's had a tough time growing up because his mother it's was abusive and violent towards him, but not in this way that like not in an unknowable like human type way, but we eventually find out that she was violent and abusive towards him because she was possessed by a demon. It's like or by darkness, for lack of a better term, and it's like and it's like and she's currently in a coma. It's like at the local hospital because Kyle was able to exorcise her. Not that he knows this, but but when he was a kid, he was able to force the demon out of her. But the demon was like so inextricably tied to her soul that it just left her it's like a vacant husk as a result. And Kyle has lived with this guilt and pain for all of his life. And also, it's like while he's tried to move past it, well, the demons aren't done with him because Kyle is what's called an outcast. It's like he has the power. Like he has the power to drive the demons out, but also because of what he is, he can attract them as well. It's like he is kind of like a beacon of light that the demons can come to our world to and infest infest it and inhabit certain people around him and that are close to him, specifically because we learn early on that Kyle is divorced because, well, it's like the common knowledge is that he beat his wife, and and that basically was it was the reason for for the divorce right there. It's why his brother-in-law, like a police officer, it's like was very suspicious of him. It's like and why his sister, it's like just does not want him to have contact with his ex-wife as a result. But the real reason is that Kyle's wife was was ultimately it's like she was ultimately his wife, his ex-wife Allison, she she wasn't beaten. She well, no, she was beaten because she was a demon and she was trying to kill their daughter. It's like it's like their daughter Amber. It's like it's one of the keep it dramatic irony that that Outcast works there. It's like it's like there are demons do exist and they do bad things in this world, but at the same time, it's like Kyle is just kind of the victim of them. But how are you gonna tell anyone that, hey, it wasn't me? It's like it was a demon possessing my wife. It's like that's a pretty solid dramatic hook right there, and I think that's kind of what gives Outcast its dramatic weight early on. Like, and then there's the fact that the demons early on are talking about this thing called the Great Merge, which is when they're going to be able to talk, bring everyone over on their side over to to our world and all. It's that's kind of the dramatic thrust of the the first half of the series. Because rereading the series, I think there's a solid divide between volumes 1 through 4 and then 5 through 8. Volumes 1 through 4 are all about establishing Kyle is the victim, and his compatriot Reverend Anderson. Anderson he's an interesting character in the sense that he's a devout religious person. It's who believes that hey, the devil is real. It's and hey, Kyle, you are are kind of the person who's going to help us fight against him. It's because but at the same time though, Anderson is also kind of very misguided in the fact that since he thinks this is a strict religious conflict. It's like, oh, it's like the forces of God against the forces of the devil. And even though it's like there's one evil character, Sydney. It's like the guy who is like the leader of the quote unquote demons against them. It's like and he just kind of like he's kind of like a I get the feeling he's kind of like it's implied he was a serial killer before he was possessed by the demons, and the demons just kind of like gave him more purpose and focus in the sense that hey, you don't need to kill it's like people indiscriminately in order to show that you're on our side. But like Sydney is like the kind of guy who will carve a upside down pentagram into Reverend Anderson's chest just to let you know, hey, it's like this is what you're dealing with right here. So you better just stay the hell back. And I think it's interesting that that Anderson looks at this and goes like, it's like this is a test from God. So I'm not gonna give in to you. And eventually it's like Sydney's provocations eventually provoke I'm Reverend Anderson to do some bad things. Just the fact that hey, it's like okay, you say you're a man of God, but then you do this stuff. Oh, that's not good. That's bad. It's like, but for the first half of the series, it's like it does a it's like I've talked about the series like on like in the blog, and how this is like kind of like a very slow burn type series in the sense that not a lot happens, but like stuff does happen. It just happens very slowly, like in 6-issue chunks, as is Kirkman's want, like for every series he's done since The Walking Dead. Because like that's not a bad thing, but I imagine that if you were reading this like single issue form, it probably would have felt interminable. It's like just to go like, hey, is something going to happen in this issue? That kind of thing. And like there are points where like things do happen, like with Kyle's adopted sister Megan like being possessed, and then like throwing her husband Brian out of the window, which causes him to be paralyzed, but also causes him to realize that oh my god, my brother-in-law, who was like I thought was like a wife beater, it's like he might actually have a point here. It's like that kind of thing. And then there are bits where Sydney does capture like Kyle. It's like you got to figure like, well, what's going to happen there? It's like, well, it's like it's just a matter of just just figuring out of seeing like well, it's like how is Kirkman going to advance things here? And it's like for the first 4 volumes, like or issues 1 through 24, it's like I get the feeling that I can understand like these complaints about what's going to happen. It's like, is something like major going to happen here? Well, it's like yeah, I can. It's kind of like you got to have patience. You got to have faith, for lack of a better term, because hey, that's what Reverend Anderson wants. And when he guts a guy in order to to prove that point, well, yeah, it's like that's kind of a big deal right there. But I can understand that if you're reading the series and you're going through the first half, well, you got to have like there's a lot of stuff that's going on that just kind of tries your patience. They basically ask you to buy into the series as a slow burn. And I think that that Kirkman's writing and Azaceta's art do a good job of like trying to convince you of that, because I think that Kirkman, more than anything else, he does understand the value of getting you to know the characters and believe that like hey, they've got solid motivations behind what they're doing. And Azaceta, as I said before, like he does that this dark, creepy style really well, especially with his like those like interior like square panels like within the regular panels that let you know that hey, there's something else going on here, that there's more going on than just like like the big stuff that I'm showing you right here. But I guess that kind of brings us to the back half of the series, because with volume 5, like things start picking up because we because while because while Kyle is like shown to be like kind of an amateur exorcist like for the first half, well, he starts coming into his own in the back half, specifically when a person close to him starts like shows up and just starts showing him like, yeah, this is what you can do with your power. It's like, and and with volume 5, you start getting the feeling like, hey, it's like the good guys are starting like to pull ahead here. And then in volume 6, we get the introduction to Roland Tusk, who is like one of a big mean fixer for the demonic side. And but also like he's big, he's mean, he likes to eat tongues, but he's also a good family person as well. It's like, I mean, Kirkman does like the family stuff extremely well, like in this series. I mean, if you know how well he managed that in Invincible, well, it's the same here as well. Because with Tusk, I mean, it's just like it's just amazing just how he manages to make this guy seem like a genuine like villain, but also just kind of like kind of sympathetic as well, in the sense that he loves his wife, like, and he loves his kids, like who they are. But then when he realizes that, oh, wait a second, this great merge that my side has been talking about, they're going to cause my kids to not be, the kids that I've known for my life. Oh man, I've got to do something about that. Like that's a good, solid, like character-driven reason for doing what he does. It's like, especially in the final volume, because the like as the series goes on, like it starts to like be framed as a standoff between the Kyle's camp and then everyone else in West Virginia. It's like, it's kind of like, if you remember like the Branch Davidian stuff like back in the 90s, like just give you an idea of how old I am right there. This is kind of like what's going on here, like as the series moves into its final act. It's like, except that the guys in the compound, they're the good guys, and the people who are advancing on them, well, they're the ones who are like being like demonically possessed and all. And that's kind of like where things are with the final volume, because like because with when volume 7 left off, it's like it kind of like it implied that, hey, it's like Kyle, it's like Kyle's team like had was getting a big boost from the divine or the light side, for lack of a better term, because it's like, while Reverend Anderson loves to talk about this stuff in like, hey, it's like God is on our side and all. Well, it's like the overall like arc of this. It's like, it's not like being about like good and evil, or God and the devil. It's basically all about being like one side is about corrupting everyone, and the other side is all about bringing like order, so you can let everyone live their own lives. And this final volume, volume 8, the merged, basically like brings that into stark relief, as it's like as Allison is essentially possessed by the last good thing from the dimension that the light and darkness came from. Because while Kyle and all the other outcasts, like they are the recipients of the light from this dimension. It's like all the darkness, or the demons. It's like they're the representatives of the darkness of the dimension, and they want to come here because this dimension is about to collapse. So that's basically what the the Great Merge is about, and it's all, and this like in this finale, it's all about just it's like sorting things out. It's like, and does it work? Well, I think it does, but I think it does on the fact that like Kirkman is a solid writer, and Azaceta is a solid artist, like in the end, because it all kind of comes down to the fact that like in the end that Barnes has to has to deal with the fact that what his mother, while she was possessed by a demon, did to him. It's like, and he has to recognize what that means in the larger context of the story, and also just it's like how his team can like come together in a proper pattern to to reject the demons, and also like Roland Tusk and his family also have a interesting like part to play here as well. Both like before the great merge happens, and then after when things have been settled, and he basically comes up to like Kyle and basically says, it's like what does it all mean? Was it worth it? It's like, and I can understand what he's talking about there, and I can understand that Kyle doesn't have any good solid answers for him. It's like I do like the end, like for the series, just the idea that it's like in the end, like Kyle was able to find some measure of peace, like after everything was done, like that we do get the mega happy ending, and I do think that it was earned. But there's also like like questions like left to be had, like the ones Tusk answers, and also the ones that Reverend Anderson has to answer as well, because when Anderson and Kyle have their final like conversation, like in the final volume, it's like it could be read as like, hey, it's like we're getting ready for a sequel, huh? But you could also just recognize as Kyle just be saying, no, it's like I've done what I've done what I've could do. It's like, and everything is saved. It's like, and Anderson's just like, I hope you're right, man. So I mean, I do like Outcast. I rereading these 8 volumes, and like it's a nice compact like series, in its 8 volumes and all. And I think that for all I've talked about is it being a slow burn series, like that kind of stuff reads a lot better when you're going through all 48 issues at once, as opposed to say all 48 issues over say for 4.5 years, 5, because I know the series was delayed a bit because of like COVID and all. But overall, it's like I think that it's a good solid read, but I think that it's like maybe it doesn't have like the same kind of like genre aware self awareness that we saw from Kirkman in The Walking Dead and Invincible. The sense that hey, it's like here's a guy who's like very familiar with the conventions of the genres he's working in, and he knows to give them a good solid twist to keep us like thoroughly invested. Outcast is more like an example of like hey, like he knows how to keep us invested in like familiar stuff like done well. It's like he knows how to like create a solid protagonist. He knows how to create a solid antagonists really, and also just like gives like a good solid like supporting cast to support the main character as well. So no, it's like I don't think that Outcast is on the same level as Kirkman's like best creator owned work, but it's like I think it's ultimately like a good example of like of how he knows how to like keep us readers invested in like good solid familiar genre work. I mean, it's
Did
like
you say? Did you say you knew when? Wait, when was this produced? Actually, in
uh,
relation to his other works, I don't know. I don't remember if you mentioned that.
oh, this was Kirkman was doing Outcast at the same time he was still going full throttle into The Walking Dead and Invincible. It's like as ongoing series.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like I think so it's like yeah, it's like I think that he's that like those series are still going to be like his masterpieces, but Outcast shows that he's that Kirkman knows how to get how to like, invest readers into like good solid genre fare. It's like I mean just through just like like creating solid characters, solid motivations. I mean, yeah, he has to kind of like maybe he'll have to spell these motivations out to the reader, but like I'm fine with that. It's like, and also he's like he knows how to team us up with like good solid artists, like Paul Azaceta. So like so yeah, it's like even if like Outcast isn't on the same level as his best work, I feel confident recommending it to like people who who hear like, hey, this is from the creator of The Walking Dead and Invincible. Hey, it's like, yeah, go ahead and check this out. I recommend it because Kirkman's a guy who knows what he's doing.
Cool. So do you know what you're going to be talking about next time?
All right, so we're going from one guy who knows what he's doing to another guy who knows what he's doing very well. We're talking about Hirohiko Araki, the creator of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's like, and while I've talked about his like the series' best known arc, Stardust Crusaders, like several years ago, well, Viz finally finished publishing Diamond is Unbreakable, like the series like the arc that came after that series, and it's basically the most Stephen King-ish arc of the series, like from an author who clearly worships at the altar of Stephen King in a good way.
All right. Well, that sounds pretty good. And we'll catch you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick.
Right, later, everyone.